Money talks in football nowadays, no less in the Premier League, where the division is bought pretty much every season, other than the anomaly that was Leicester City's title-winning campaign. With the huge TV money around, player prices are constantly on the rise, which has seen Premier League club after Premier League club breaking their transfer record. So over the next 2 days, we're going to look at who is each club's record signing, going from the cheapest to the most expensive. So let's get cracking today and look at 20 through to 11 before the final 10 tomorrow. In 20th place we've got Huddersfield Town, whose record signing is Steve Mounier, who cost the Terriers £11.4 million this summer from Montpellier. The forward was part of David Wagner's attempt to build a squad capable of competing in the Premier League, whilst keeping the core that helped them gain promotion. The arrival of Steve Mounier immediately paid off, with the forward scoring twice on the opening weekend of the season to help Huddersfield beat Palace 3-0 at Selhurst Park. Sadly, the Benin striker has been struck down with injury, meaning he's been unable to add to his 2 Premier League goals. However, I'm sure the big target man will continue to be a hit in Yorkshire once he returns from his layoff. In 19th place it's West Brom, whose record signing is Nacer Chadli, who cost £13 million last summer from Tottenham Hotspur. The arrival of the Belgian looked to be massively significant for West Brom in their future development, with Tony Pulis slowly adding more guile and technical ability to his team of hard-working defenders. Chadli hit the ground running at the Hawthorns, giving them a creative edge in the final third that had been missing, but after a bright start began to fade, seemingly unable to match the physical demands of the baseball cap-wearing gaffer. Chadli was linked with a big money move to Swansea over the summer, but Clement's side were put off by the £25 million valuation, and Chadli remains with the Baggies, having scored against Leicester the other week in his first Premier League appearance of the season, having struggled with an injury. In 18th place it's Brighton, whose record signing is Jose Izquierdo, who cost £13.5 million this summer from Club Bruges. Like Huddersfield, Brighton had to do their fair share of recruitment to try and make them Premier League quality, and Jose Izquierdo was the most expensive arrival, having impressed in Belgium in recent years. The Colombian winger scored 15 times for Club Bruges last season and is already off and running, scoring in the Seagulls' 3-0 victory over West Ham at the Olympic Stadium, although he probably needs to thank Joe Hart, whose limp hand ensured Izquierdo strike found the back of the net. In 17th place it's Burnley, whose record signing is Chris Wood, who cost £15 million from Leeds United this summer. Having scored 27 championship goals last season as Leeds missed out in the playoffs, more than any other player in the division, and his biggest personal tally for a season, the next question was always going to be, can Chris Wood do it at Premier League level? With just 1 Premier League goal to his name from his time at Leicester, Burnley decided to take a punt on the big New Zealand striker, costing £15 million, and he's already started to pay that back, scoring 3 times to win them 5 points. A worthy investment from the Clarets, who aren't known as the biggest spenders around. In 16th place it's Swansea City, whose record signing is Sam Clucas, who cost £16.5 million from Hull City this summer. The move for the midfielder eclipsed Swansea's £15.5 million signing of Borja Baston the year before, which proved to be a massive flop. So hopefully for the Swans' sake, Clucas can prove to be more worth the money, but to be fair, it's a hell of a lot for a player who suffered relegation last season with Hull. Clucas was one of the Tigers' better performers, but £16.5 million for an average central midfielder just epitomised the crazy transfer window we witnessed this summer, with huge and inflated fees flying around for less than spectacular players. In 15th place it's Newcastle United, whose record signing is Michael Owen, who cost the Magpies £16.8 million from Real Madrid in 2005. The longest standing record signing in the Premier League today, Newcastle's most expensive player moved to the North East more than 12 years ago now. While everyone else has been splashing the cash, Newcastle have scraped the bargain bin or headed to France, with Mike Ashley being more than a little coy with his wallet. Owen was a huge signing at the time, but what a waste of money. The former England striker spent most of his time injured and was more interested in his horses than playing for Newcastle. So it's been more than a decade since Newcastle broke their transfer record, and it wasn't even worth breaking on Owen, but things could change soon with Mike Ashley putting the club up for sale. In 14th place it's Southampton, whose record signing is Mario Lemina, who cost £18.1 million from Juventus this summer. There probably weren't as many incomings at St Mary's this summer than fans would have hoped, but it's easy to see that Mario Lemina is the standout player, which is exactly why he cost the most money, a club record fee of £18.1 million. The central midfielder arrived with a big reputation from Juventus and has quickly settled into Premier League life, dealing with the rough and tumble of English football, clearly not afraid to shirk a tackle and get stuck in. Southampton's start of the season has been distinctly average, but Lemina's performances have probably been the most pleasing thing, proving he was worth the dosh. In 13th place it's Stoke City, whose record signing is Janelli Mbula, who cost £18.3 million in February 2016 from Porto. A lot of these record signings that we've looked at have had bright starts at their new club, but don't forget what happened to Janelli and Bula. The midfielder made a bright start to his Stoke career, but do you know where he is now? Toulouse. After starting strongly in the Premier League, Mbula quickly fell out of favour and the Potters were willing to sell the 25-year-old in the summer for a loss. Instead he went on loan to Toulouse for the season and will probably never play for Stoke again when he returns next summer. In 12th place we've got Watford, whose record signing is Andre Gray, who cost £18.5 million from Burnley this summer. The Hornets have become notorious for their international side, but their most expensive player is an Englishman, such as the inflated prices you have to pay for players born on our shores. Gray has made his way through the divisions from non-league to the Premier League, scoring 9 times last season for Burnley in his first season in the top flight, and was a target for various clubs over the summer. It was Watford who got him though, but so far Gray has only scored once for his new side. Not that it matters though, with Marco Silva's side flying without the goals of their record signing. And to end part 1, in 11th place it's Bournemouth, whose record signing is Nathan Ake, who cost £20 million this summer from Chelsea. To think we live in a world where Bournemouth can spend £20 million on a player. A club that was nearly out of business completely this century, the Cherries are now tasting the fruits of their labour, with their efforts to reach the Premier League and stay there allowing them to spend big money and attract better players to the club. Nathan Ake impressed on loan last season at Dean Court and looks to be getting back to his best after a rocky start back at the club, during a time in which Eddie Howe's side were really struggling. So that's the end of part 1. Join us tomorrow for part 2 where we'll continue to count down the most expensive Premier League signings by every club. Make sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.